Police fired tear gas and water cannons to disperse crowds protesting against COVID-19 vaccinations in Athens on Wednesday. NTD's John Robson brings us more on this.
About 1,500 people took part in a protest outside the Greek parliament. It's the second protest in a week against the country's COVID-19 vaccination push. A rally last Wednesday drew more than 5,000 people, some of them waving Greek flags and wooden crosses. The protests were prompted by a government decision ordering the mandatory vaccination of healthcare workers and nursing home staff. The government has suggested other groups such as teachers may need to be vaccinated in the autumn. Infections in Greece have been rising in recent weeks, and authorities reported almost 3,000 new cases on Wednesday, bringing the total since the pandemic began to over 460,000 people. More than 12,800 have died. Joanne Robson, NTD News.
And in France, tourists have returned to Paris, but now they need a COVID health pass to visit the Eiffel Tower and other sites. NTD's All Roads brings us more on the contentious new anti-COVID-19 rules.
Visitors to the Eiffel Tower now need a new COVID-19 health pass to ride up the landmark. The pass shows that they are either fully vaccinated, have recovered from an infection, or have a negative test result. Some tourists question the usefulness of the rules.
Yeah, if I get tested now I can go, but I can get corona in this queue right here. So I will have corona for the next 72 hours, but a negative test. So that's my thought.
The pass is a QR pass on your smartphone or on a piece of paper. The rules came into effect on Wednesday following a government decree. They also apply to cinemas, swimming pools and museums. Here at the Louvre, some visitors were caught by surprise.
At first I was furious because I think it's excessive, more so because it was not well explained and I had no idea. But then after thinking about it I calmed down and I understood there were medical reasons.
The government argues that the rules, some of the toughest in Europe, are essential to deal with rising cases of the Delta variant. At the French Parliament, French lawmakers were debating extending the health pass to access cafes and restaurants. The health minister appealed to lawmakers on Wednesday.
Facing individualism, let's choose collective responsibility. Let's push the end of the examination of this text and give us the tools to protect French people.
The new health pass has proved contentious. On Wednesday, hundreds of people in Paris protested the pass as well as mandatory vaccinations for health workers.
So I think for the health of everyone it is important to respect your beliefs, your values, especially if it helps you to move forward. If I personally am forced to do something that I don't believe in, I won't do it.
Some of the protesters waved banners that read, "Freedom to choose" and "Hands off my natural immunity." The march comes after 100,000 joined rallies across France last weekend against what they say are violations of their liberties. The French Prime Minister says the country has entered its fourth wave and new lockdowns cannot be ruled out. Earl Rhodes, NTD News.
Staying in France, the health minister is encouraging pregnant women to get vaccinated. But just 6 months ago, they were not advised to receive the shot. No study or data has backed this change. NTD's France correspondent David Vivez brings us this report.
Should pregnant women get vaccinated against the CCP virus? According to French Health Minister Olivier Véran, pregnant women are safe to be vaccinated and should do so as soon as possible. He made the comments on July 20th, but he also said a few hundred pregnant women would be exceptional cases and should not get vaccinated. At a press conference Wednesday, Member of Parliament Martine Vonner said she felt shocked at Véran's decision.
One of the vaccine manufacturers is conducting a study with pregnant women, so we don't have a study yet. I'm shocked. I'm really shocked. As a doctor, I just cannot believe it.
The health minister did not quote any studies to back the safety of vaccination for pregnant women. WHO and CDC support this recommendation. But once again, the data are limited. In an interview on June 4th, WHO communications head Vismita Gupta-Smith said pregnant women should get vaccinated as the benefits outweigh the risk. However, the vaccine was not recommended by the WHO to pregnant women or women wishing to get pregnant before April. Alexandra Orniocode is a geneticist and the former director of research at a French government health agency. She says no study has been released so far on COVID vaccines' safety in pregnancy.
I don't understand, and this is only very unusual practice that we are facing, in the sense that whether for the children, whether for the pregnant women, we have so little month of observations.
Orion Code says the lack of data is very concerning.
How did they reach to that recommendation now? I am very uncomfortable with it. I have seen that you have a lot of spontaneous abortion in a ratio that is never reached normally. So there is something peculiar taking place.
The French Parliament is expected to pass a bill Thursday that will require mandatory vaccination for healthcare workers and enforce the use of health passes for the general public. David Vives, NTD News, Paris.
The US and Germany announced a deal to allow the completion of a controversial Russian gas pipeline to Europe. The agreement aims to staunch fears about European dependence on Russian energy. NTD's Eddie Aitken brings us more.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel on Thursday defended a deal with the US to allow the completion of a Russian gas pipeline to Germany. That's without further American sanctions.
Ein guter Schritt.
A good step that also required a willingness to compromise on both sides. On the other hand, it does not overcome all the divergence that existed the day before.
The US fears the Nord Stream 2 project would give Russia too much power over European gas supplies. But the pipeline is almost completed, and the US wants to improve ties with Germany. The pipeline under the Baltic Sea bypasses Ukraine. That means Ukraine could lose out on gas transit fees. In the deal, both sides agreed to support Ukraine with funds to diversify its energy sources. But Ukraine said on Thursday that was not enough. We have always honestly said that for us, Nord Stream 2 is primarily a security issue, and we would like the US-German statement regarding security to be stronger. Ukraine is also opposed to the £8 billion project. Out of fear, Russia will use energy as a weapon. The US and Germany say they are committed to imposing sanctions if that happens.
Then,
of course, we also have the possibility, which I don't want to make use of, but which we always have, also in connection with Crimea, to impose sanctions. So we are not without any means to do something.
Russia said on Thursday it has never used energy as a tool of political pressure. Eddie Aitken, NTD News.
For the tiny Balkan country of Montenegro, tourism is an important source of income. The return of cruise ships and their passengers brings hope. NTD's John Robson has the story.
Cruise ships are returning to the tiny Balkan country of Montenegro after 16 months. For locals, they bring hope of tourism income, but also raise environmental concerns. The 230-metre Viking Venus is the first major cruise ship to arrive in Montenegro. It reaches the medieval town of Kotor with only 170 tourists on board, compared with full capacity of over 900.
It's empty on the ship. There's more staff than passengers. So it's good for us because at least, there's a free sunbed every time.
Local businesses rely on tourism, but to the disappointment of one clerk, tourists from Viking Venus are not coming to her souvenir shop.
Today, the first one arrived, but there is nobody from it in the town. Obviously, they have some rules where they can go, but none of the passengers are entering souvenir shops.
The return of cruise ships has raised concerns over their environmental impact. Last week, Italy banned cruise liners from the Venetian lagoon to protest its fragile ecosystem and heritage.
Montenegro must, as soon as possible, make analysis and studies that will show the impact the cruises have already done on the environment, and accordingly make suggestions and set boundaries.
Tourism accounts for more than 20% of Montenegro's economy. The country lost almost all income from the summer tourist season in 2020. Its economy minister recently said tourism activity was getting back to 70 to 80% of 2019 levels. A full recovery is expected by the end of 2022. Joanne Robson, NTD News.
Now, people usually associate World Heritage with epic monuments like the Great Pyramids or the Great Wall of China. But UNESCO also recognizes natural wonders. Managers of forests in Bosnia and 9 other countries are hopeful they may soon get the coveted status. NTD's Cost Temenes brings us more on this.
This is Janju Forest, nearly 300 hectares of virgin forest on the western slopes of the Stolovac Massif in Bosnia. The primeval forest of beech, fir and spruce has been a strictly protected nature reserve for over 6 decades. Environmentalists are hoping it will get wider recognition and more protection if added to the UNESCO World Heritage List this month. The center of the forest, about a fifth of the entire area, can be accessed only with the permission of the public forest farm Gorica, which is tasked with protecting the reserve. With its mixture of old and young, big and small, dead and living trees, Janju Forest is a dynamic ecosystem and a haven of biodiversity. National authorities designated it as a strict natural preserve in 1956, but it was only last year that it was nominated for inclusion on the World Heritage List.
It would be a big deal if it were recognized as a natural World Heritage Site. The stakes are high.
The manager of the Gorica forest farm could not agree more.
If that happens, it will become the first natural site in the Republika Srpska region and Bosnia-Herzegovina in general to be recognized by UNESCO as part of the World Heritage.
UNESCO's World Heritage Committee will meet this month to make the final decision. Cost Temenes, NTD News.
That's the news for today, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Stuart Lees. Thank you for watching our daily news show on YouTube. You can also watch our other programming on channel 190 on Sky TV or on Freeview via channel box on channel 271. In the meantime though, please give this video a like and hit subscribe to our channel. Have a good day.